Hey everybody, it's UturnCrobat here, turning into you today with week 4 of the WPE. But before we get into anything, please make sure you leave a gigantic like on this video because we are going up against Max Rapture for the second time on the channel. This time around we are week 4 of the WPE like I mentioned. But if you want to go battle him, then please make sure you go check him out in my description because that's where I will have all of my opponent's links and everything. So let me just go over our team real quick because we are bringing Clambake, the Fortress, the Stealth Rock, Volt Switch, Rapid Spin, Rock Slide, Sturdy, Rocky Helmet. Now the Rocky Helmet because it meant that it would chip away on the pincer and it meant it couldn't come back in on the rocks pincer really. Because we are sturdy, so it's not like he could really OHKO us, and the Rocky Helmet would actually really help. Next up, we are bringing Arcanine, Figgy Berry, Intimidate, Toxic Flare Blitz, E-Speed, Morning Sun. I totally forgot about the EVs for Fortress, so let me just go on back. 252 HP, 252 Defense. For Special Defense, Relaxed Nature. Now, for Arcanine, it's 252 HP for Defense, 252 SpDef, and Careful Nature. And the reason why we do have the Figgy Berry, it just meant that once Arcanine dropped under 25%, it would gain 50% back. Arcanine would be taking hits from things like Volcarona. If Volcarona got to +1, it could hit us with an HP ground, and we were to live it, get the Figgy Berry recovery, hit a Flare Blitz, and live that recoil. So we really just needed to work around that and try making good plays. You know the new London Zoroarks, we really have to start making some good plays in this battle. Next up, we have Vrajamon. We have the Tapu Bulu Assault Vest, Mega Horn, Rock Slide, Woodhammer, Horn Leech, 252 HP, 68 attack, 4 defense, 140 SpDef, and 44 in speed with an adamant nature. Now, Tapu Bulu. Now, the SpDef EVs we could live 2 modest Specs Primarina Moonblast on switch in. Now, it would do around 51% max, then we'd get the Grassy Terrain recovery, and even with Greninja, we could live 1 Ice Beam and take it out with Stone Edge. It was a really good check for all the special attackers, really. Next up, we have that Weavile, the sneaky bitch, and is holding the black glasses with knockoff, Ice Shard, Poison Jab, Icicle Crash, 108 HP, 252 attack, 148 in speed with a jolly nature. And the reason why we are holding the black glasses is just power up the knockoff, because honestly he did not have a switch into knockoff very well, and we did not want the Life Orb recoil. It would have been nice, but at the same time I didn't want that recoil, and the black glasses kind of it helped a lot, honestly. So going on to Swellow, we have the Flame Orb, Guts, Facade, U-Turn, Quick Attack, and Brave Bird, 108 HP, 252 attack, 148 in speed, with a jolly nature. Now, his only switch into Swellow was Ready Steel. Everything else got 2-hit KO'd or OHKO'd, and that is just pretty freaking impressive because how often do you find a Pokemon that just annihilates your opponent, you know what I mean? It's just freaking crazy. And just excuse me while I kind of waste some time trying to find my opponent's roster, because to be fair, he had a lot of freaking threatening Pokemon. As you can see, he has that Mega Pinsir, but he has a fucking Greninja, Mega Pinsir, Volcarona, Latias, Chestnut, Primarina, Heliolisk, Registeel, Piloswine, Kamala, and Mesprit. We knew for a fact he was going to be bringing Greninja, Mega Pinsir, Volcarona was really a 50-50, and the Heliolisk, I kind of thought he was going to be bringing. Mega Pinsir was really obvious. Latias could have been his defogger, so that was kind of on my. I was kind of thinking he could be bringing. It was kind of 50-50 for me, honestly. But I'm just going to go on and get into this battle because, as you're going to see, we are going up against Greninja, Mega Pinsir, Volcarona, Heliolisk, Chestnut, and that fucking Registeel. And the new London Zoroarks, we do not have fun with Registeels at all. We honestly do not. The past couple of times we went up against a Registeel, it was in the NPCC against Bill Stanish, and he brought the Registeel, and it wasn't fun at all. But I kind of thought he was going to be either leading the Landy, or just, honestly, he could have led anyone, but my game plan was to lead the Clambake, because I want to get my hazards up. He could have led anyone, and we have Sturdy, so it didn't really matter all too much. And we were going to get our rocks up, because the rocks on his side would hurt him more than him getting rocks on our side. Now, as you can see from that damage, I immediately thought that this thing could be scarfed because there are some calculations going on in the back. Now, from that damage, a Specs Surf would have done a lot more. Yeah, that did a lot, but Specs would have done a hell of a lot more. So I was just assuming that that thing was going to be scarfed. Heliolisk is up, and at this point in time, obviously, I don't know what this thing is going to be. But I'm going to go into Bad Influence because I doubled out thinking he was going to be going into, I forget now who I thought he was going to be going into, but our check to any of his special attackers is Tapu Bulu, because we do hold that Assault Vest, and we can take a Volt Switch. We can really take anyone. I was predicting the Volt Switch because he had no reason not to do that. We didn't bring Nidoqueen, so he can honestly Volt Switch all around our team, wear it down, and then pick it off in the end. But our check to Heliolisk and any of his special attackers is Bulu. Now, at this point in time, because Pinsir is out, I really thought it was a good idea just to go into Fortress, simply because I want to get that Rocky Helmet damage, and at the same time, if I lose Fortress right here, he did its job. You know, he set up those rocks, so I don't really mind losing Fortress right here. I was hoping that Fortress was going to be living, but as you're going to see here momentarily, he is not, because it's a mega fucking Pinsir, and from that range we are not going to be living a return, as you're going to see right here. But I was happy getting up those rocks, because that meant that even with the Rocky Helmet damage, Pinsir does not want to come in on those rocks anymore, so Max is going to have to try keeping that thing in back and just try picking our team off in the end. He has to try not to bring Pinsir in on those rocks as much. So I'm going to go into Pyro Bits because, one, I want to intimidate the Pinsir so he can't do anything. And if he wanted to stay in, that's fine. My immediate move that I'm going to be going for is Flare Blitz, because he honestly has no switch-ins to Flare Blitz. He has the Registeel, which is fine, but at that, Registeel is going to be 2-hit KO'd with this Flare Blitz. And even though we are going to be getting hit the recoil, it doesn't really matter because the grassy terrain is in fact going to be helping us out a lot. And the problem that I see right here, one, I know that Chestnut is really defensive, but from that range, I honestly have no reason not to go for another Flare Blitz. One, if he wanted to preserve Chestnut, fine. Someone's going to be dying, really, because after rocks, no one wants to get hit with a Flare Blitz. And two, if he wanted to leave Chestnut in, that's fine by me. That's one less Pokemon I have to really worry about. But he's going to go into the Greninja right here, because obviously he's going to want to hit up a Surf on our Arcanine. Now, I honestly do not want Arcanine taking a Surf, so my immediate switch in to this fucking Greninja is in fact the Manaphy, because Manaphy can take an Ice Beam, Manaphy can take a Surf, Manaphy can obviously take this U-turn. If he wanted, okay, my mindset during that was, if he was going to be going for a U-turn, so be it. I'll be able to work around it, but I know for a fact he's going to be going into his Heliolisk, because why the fuck not? But it doesn't really bother me all that much, because the more times he switches in Pinsir, the more times he switches in Heliolisk, they're going to be taking Rocky Helmet damage. I mean, not Rocky Helmet, they're going to be taking rocks damage, and that really helps us out in the long run. It will allow us to throw Weavile in and start picking Pokemon off in the end game. But I'm switching. I don't want to take a Volt Switch or even a Thunderbolt. I'm going into our Assault Vest Pokemon, because I know for a fact that Tapu Bulu can eat these attacks up. Even with an HP Ice or even a Gunk Shot, whatever, we're able to eat up any attacks that this Heliolisk wants to throw at us. Like I mentioned before, the reason why he is Volt Switching all over our team is because he can. We do not have Nidoqueen on our team, so he is more than welcome to do so. But he's going to be going into Registeel. Now, Virajamon can't really do too much this thing. Originally, we had Superpower on Virajamon. The problem was that, for whatever reason, somehow Showdown ended up getting rid of Superpower. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but when I had Jacob gen this team, we didn't have Superpower, so that was a problem. So my immediate switch into this fucking Registeel is Arcanine, because I knew for a fact he was going to be setting up his rocks. Yeah, he could have stayed and went for like a fucking Iron Head, but I knew that he needed to get rocks on our side just so he could start chipping away at our team, just like we're doing to him. So I really wanted to switch in on Registeel before the rock set, so I could come in free and hit a powerful Flare Blitz. Now, the not so funny, but kind of sort of funny thing right here. We get a crit, which is great. But right here, you're going to be seeing that he is going to be critting us as well. Now, with the grassy terrain, Earthquake is not going to be doing much, but because that did a little more than I expected, it was a crit. So it was literally crits back to back, which is rather annoying, but it didn't really bother me all too much because even in the grassy terrain, it's not going to be doing much. Now, I really want a Morning Sun because I want to regain all this HP so I can live all these earthquakes that Registeel wants to dish out. I really need to start counting those grassy terrain, how many turns the grassy terrain is, because if the grassy terrain ends like right now, then we are not going to want to take an earthquake. Unfortunately, the Registeel decides he wants to paralyze us, which I wasn't too proud of. I did not want Arcanine getting paralyzed, but we did have Manaphy in the back with Heal Bell, so I wasn't too concerned about Arcanine getting paralyzed because I still knew that we had priority at E-Speed. I knew that we had Weavile in the back with Ice Shower, so it didn't really bother me all too much, but I'm going to be breaking through this para and hitting a second Flare Blitz, thus eliminating the Registeel, thankfully. Okay, to be completely honest, Registeel was really frightening to me in the sense where it's a fucking wall, and I battled enough of them, and I didn't want to battle any more annoying Registeel, so I'm just glad this Registeel didn't really give me any problems. Yeah, it paralyzed the Arcanine. It's not really that big of a problem. He's going into the Greninja right here, which is pretty obvious because, well, he needs to get rid of this fucking Arcanine. He really fucking does. My immediate switch into Greninja is in fact the Manaphy because I know that like I mentioned before, I know that I can take a Surf. I know that I can take an Ice Beam. But because Arcanine is just putting in the work, he has to go for a Surf. He honestly has no reason not to. And because I know that he's going to be locked in, I know that I'm free to go into Manaphy and I can go for either a knockoff or I could go for a U-turn. And because I want to gain that momentum, my decision is U-turn. I don't care who he is going into. I'm going to be U-turning because I want to get that momentum. I want to be able to throw someone in the way of this Heliolisk, so I know that I can just destroy this thing. And my switch in is none other than our Weavile, because he has no Pokemon who wants to switch in on a Black Glasses boosted knockoff. No one at all. And pretty soon you're going to be seeing that we are going to be outspeeding this Heliolisk, which means... Oh, actually, that just threw me off. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot that he does switch out. He's actually sacking the Volcarona. And at this point in time, I was really fucking scared that he was going to be burning us because this thing has Flame Body, right? So I was really scared that after that knockoff, we were going to get burned, but luckily we do not. I mean, even if we got burned, it didn't really matter too much because, one, we still have rocks on his side, and we still have priority in E-Speed and Ice Shard. So it doesn't really matter too much, but I'm really glad that we didn't get burned. But I'm switching out because I figured he was going to be going for the a Surf or even a U-turn, because Surf wouldn't have killed Weavile. We would have killed it with knockoff. Shown we switched into Manaphy, U-turn would have given him a momentum. Probably would have killed Weavile. Swellow comes in, takes some U-turn damage. That turn we get our Flame Orb, and the only things he brings in are slower than Swellow, and we can kill a Quick Attack or Facade. So it was really I thought he was going to be going for either a Surf or a U-turn. Him going for that Ice Beam did surprise me, but we still have Pokemon in the back that can really win us this battle, so I wasn't too upset with that. But he's going to be going into Heliolisk because his Manaphy check or whatever you want to call it, is the Heliolisk, because Manaphy can't really do a ton to Heliolisk, but as you see right there, apparently a Manaphy U-turn can really kill a Heliolisk, which kind of surprised me, but I was happy. I'm going into Arcanine because I want to start shooting off some Flare Blitzes, honestly. I really do. And now that he's going to go into the Greninja, he can either go for a U-turn or he can really Surf. I'm actually just going to go for an E-Speed because I figured that if he's going to be going for a Surf, so be it. I want to get some E-Speed damage off so then Weavile can come in and just win us the battle. But he's going to be locking himself into the fucking Dark Pulse. And with that Figgy Berry, it helped us out a lot right here. Because with his 2 Pokemon left, the Figgy Berry is going to bring all of our HP back. And I'm really happy with that because those Dark Pulses aren't going to be doing enough at all. and we can continue just using E-Speed. And as you're going to see momentarily, Arcanine is in fact going to be just destroying this fucking Greninja. I never knew in a million years that Arcanine was going to be putting in the work for us, but it did. And I'm so fucking happy that we brought Arcanine. I'm so happy that we brought Arcanine with E-Speed. And his only Pokemon left is the Pinsir. Now you're going to see as look at all the damage. You see how much damage that does. Now I can easily go for an E-Speed and just pick up the Pinsir and just pick up the win right there with a 4-0 victory against Max Rapture. Now this battle was scary to say the fucking least. I thought he was going to be bringing his Latias because he could have brought it for a for Defog, and had he brought Defog Latias, I feel it would have helped him. But I did talk to him after the battle, and the only reason why he didn't bring Latias was for the Weavile, because obviously both of Weavile's stabs scare Latias, but he could have brought like a Cola Berry or something just for that pursuit, I guess. But I can understand his reasoning for not bringing Latias. I can honestly say that, I mean, he was smart for not bringing it, but I also, at the same time, I feel like it would have helped him out as well. But him sacking Volcarona off really, just released some stress that I had, because had Volcarona set up, I would have to work around that. It would have been annoying, but I'm just really glad I was able to set up the rocks early, and Weavile was able to take out that fucking Volcarona, because Volcaronas can destroy, and it can really destroy our team had it put in some work. But surprisingly, Pinsir didn't put in any work, honestly. I mean, just like our Fortress wasn't really meant to put in work. It was just meant to set up rocks, really. So I was happy about that. Surprised that Pinsir didn't put in any work, but he didn't really have a chance. But I think I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. I've been rambling all long enough. But if you enjoyed this battle, then please give it a gigantic like. If you enjoyed this second battle that we have had with Max Rapture, then please go follow him on Twitter. Please make sure you go subscribe to him. He's one hell of a battler. He knows exactly what he's doing. But yeah, I hope all of you have a great day. I'll catch all of you all on the flip side.